Hello and welcome to Into You, the podcast where I take a deep dive into getting to know the best you. My name is Adam Strawn, and today I have with me one of my absolute favorite people in the entire world. He's a podcast host and YouTuber based in Oklahoma, USA. His YouTube page is AZB, formerly Adventures of Zach and B, and AZB bonus features have a combined subscriber count of 308,000 subscribers. And together feature vlogs with his husband, Alastair Patton-Garcia, as well as the video counterparts to their podcasts. He co-hosts the podcast Coffee Tequila, a morning show with Alastair, and is a final faggot, co-host of My Bloody Judy, horror-based podcast with our mutual friend Ian Carlos Crawford, as well as My Nudie Judy, which is available on Slayer Fest 98's Patreon. Go and subscribe now. Yeah. It is my absolute pleasure to welcome to the podcast, Mr. Zachary Patton-Garcia. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm really good, thanks. I'm trying not to evaporate. It's like a heat wave right now in the UK, so hence the vest. I'm really, like, when I recorded the other day with Ian, I had a t-shirt on and I was like, right, this needs to go in the bin immediately. It was just drenched, so yeah.
So do y'all have AC over there, do you? Or no? Nope. Okay, no. I'm right. Okay. Yeah, we have AC. It's blasting right now, so you might hear it, but
I don't hear anything. It's good, man. But now we tend to have, in the UK, we have like a lot of rain, we have a lot of cold weather, so this is like a freak bit of heat right now, so we're not used to this. Yeah. Sunburn going on as well. Like, what is this? Like, I'm never this color. So like, we don't have AC, just in the car, so at least we have that, thank God. But yeah, how have you been, like, in terms of your week? What have you been up to?
Well, week's just started, so as we're recording it, it's a Monday, so that's good. It's not a bad Monday. We lost my husband's keys this weekend, which is such a like an ordinary problem, just like a very mundane problem, but it just caused the biggest pain in our asses this weekend because now we're down to just using my truck, and we're having to look for the damn keys. But that's about it. I mean, that's all I've got for you right now. I live a very boring, mundane Oklahoma life.
Okay, one, that's a blatant lie. And two, what's on the keys? So, like, it's like the front door keys and everything on there as well. It just
front door keys, his car keys, gym keys, like literally everything. His office keys, and we don't know where the hell they would be. So we have like a front door camera and watch it. So we watch, that to see where the keys were, and the keys are just gone. And we have to find them. So it's just that.
One of them things for me that would drive me insane. Like, literally, I'm someone who, like, a creature of habit where I'm like, right, the keys go there, that's where they go. If they're not there, I'm like, where are the keys? Like, anything like that. I'm such a kind of like a type A personality like that as well, where I'm like, I can't rest until I know where the keys are. So that would drive me.
Yeah, we have a bowl right next to the door, and so like it's like just habit that we walk in the door and put them in there, and I hear the sound of the keys going in the bowl.
Yeah,
and so like I know that we were doing that all night because I remember it, but I don't know. At some point, they went missing.
He's gone. I think Alice just throwing them out the window and
you know what? I think he just threw them across the street or something like that. Probably got mad at some point in the night.
Love that. But I hope they turn up anyway. They'll probably turn up somewhere utterly random, and you're like, how did they get here? Anyway, we'll see what happens anyway. But let's talk a little bit about how we actually met, Zach. So this was lockdown 2020. So so I don't know how things were in, like, obviously where you're obviously in Oklahoma, but for me, like, obviously in the UK, it was 23rd of March 2020 when we went into like the lockdown, and that was literally nothing was happening. So everyone was indoors. You couldn't go outside to exercise. Like, you could only go outside for like food shopping. That was it. And like, it was like really, really strict. So in that time, I started to like binge a lot of stuff. So we've obviously talked a little bit about Big Bang Theory, got all the way through it. Like, started watching like The Good Place, binged all of that, started rewatching Buffy again. And then, I just started watching more YouTube. And I started off with like recommended videos, and it came up PK and Mike, like the bloggers channel, like their videos came up. And I was like, all right, okay, so watching some of their stuff. And then this little recommendation popped up in the corner for this account called Adventures of Zach and B. And I was like, all right, okay, let's check out this. And then I was like, all right. And you know what? I think one of the first videos that came up, it was like maybe a New Year one. And I was like, all right, okay, let's check this out. And then like, I started watching it, and I was like, okay, these guys are like two of the coolest guys I've ever watched. And then, just started binging from there. So I watched pretty much everything, to be fair. And then, followed you on socials. And then I think one of the big things was, so I'd obviously subscribed on YouTube. So I'm one of like the 289,000 or whatever. But yeah, I subscribed, and then you went live at one point, and I, like, with my YouTube channel, did like a reaction to one of your videos. I don't know if you remember, but I put a comment and I was like, oh, like, I've checked out your work and I've done this, like, blah, 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 blah. And I remember in the live, you were like, oh yeah, like, you've done it. Okay, I'll take a screenshot and I'll check it out. And then you left a comment on the video, and then, like, I think we just followed each other on socials, and then obviously we're into the same stuff, like Slayfest 98 and like just Buffy and like horror stuff and all of that stuff. And then, yeah, we followed the same people and just went from there, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's usually how it happens. First off, PK and Mike are fantastic. I love their videos. When I was coming out, they were among the YouTubers that I would watch.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think, and I would just see you comment a little bit more and more, like on like Twitter and stuff like that. And so usually the people who comment a little bit more, I'm more familiar with. And so I'll start talking with them, and then, you know, it moves to DMs and like, yeah, I mean, we haven't had like a in-person hangout, but like I definitely know who you are, right?
Yeah.
And we're planning on hanging out at the end of this year anyway. So
exactly,
have an in-person hangout here soon. It's always great like that. You know, it, like, I've been stuck on like 289,000 for like the past 3 years, so it's nothing special. it's just like I'm stuck on it. But it's great because there's like a handful of people in there that'll be so regular in commenting and talking and all of that I can form bonds and relationships with people, you know. And I think I do think that like internet bonds are, I mean, they can be just as strong as like in-person relationships, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. Like, I think you kind of mentioned it as well on like some of your, you know, podcast with Alastair, when you were saying like there's certain communities and certain, like, you know, parts of the internet where you can geek out about stuff straight away, and you can talk to people like, you know, for example, if we didn't have like, I don't know, Slayfest 98, I would never be talking to Ian about Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Like we did a recording, I don't know if you listened to it, but like yesterday, where we talked like 20 minutes just about Buffy. And like growing up, I had like my close group of friends I used to talk to about, but then they started watching other TV shows, and I was like, wait, no, Buffy's still incredible, like come back. And then that kind of like filtered out. So it's nice just when you've got similar interests with people that you can, you know, geek out about and just talk about stuff like that, you know, and you bond in that way, right?
100%. So like on YouTube, what kind of videos do you watch then?
For me, it's quite a mixture. So I watch a lot of like review stuff as well. Watch a lot, you know, I say I watch a lot of vlogs. I actually don't really like, obviously watch your stuff. I watch like PK and Mike's stuff. But yeah, you know, it's a lot of like, so I'm into like a lot of video games. I'm into like my films and TV as well. So like I watch a lot of like review stuff and like sometimes some news stuff as well. But yeah, it's like just like stuff like that, really, like a lot of TV based stuff, a lot of review stuff. If there's anything to do with like anything that I'm watching at the moment, then straight away it gets a click instantly. But yeah, like film reviews, TV reviews, like even just stuff like behind the scenes stuff as well, which I'm mad about. I love shit like that, like how stuff's been made and like little hidden Easter eggs and stuff like that. Yeah, just like loads of stuff like that. Just proper like geek out and stuff like that. What about you?
It used to be a bunch of vlogs. I was like big into vlogs, watching vlogs, and then when you start doing it, it's not, I don't know, I just don't want to watch them as much anymore. But it just it just depends. Like when I'm going to sleep, I like documentaries. I just like, you know, a voice kind of going while I'm going to sleep. My husband hates it because he likes it completely quiet, but I have to have it. So I like have it on like the first volume little bar thing right next to my ear. I like reviews and reactions when I'm working out. So if I'm on the treadmill or something like that, I love to see people react to like my favorite songs, like the shit that you do is I like watching that stuff. And it gets me like excited, and I'll watch like, you know, 30 people reacting to like the same clip of, or the same song of like one thing. And so it just varies, I guess. I don't know. I'm not even on YouTube as much anymore. I'm more into podcasts these days.
Yeah, man. Like when you said that about listening to documentaries, like that's me with podcasts. So like, but I kind of understand where Alistair's coming from a little bit. So I was kind of like, so when I was with my ex, like he used to like this weird thing where he had an app on his phone where it was the sound of a fan, like not even a real fan.
I don't mind that. Yeah, I don't.
But he was just like put the fan on, and I was like, okay, like I love the sound of rain. Like I fall asleep to rain all the time. I love that shit. But a fan, I'm like, let's put the real fan on. Like, let's turn that app on. Like, what are you doing?
You might as well turn the real one on.
Exactly. Let's keep cool and enjoy the noise. Like, why have you got an app? Like, why is this happening? But yeah, the sound of rain I love. But yeah, like podcasts, so easy. Like in the gym, I listen to so many podcasts. Just easy to burn through them, right? And a lot of audiobooks as well, actually.
Well, so with audiobooks, I'm really bad about audiobooks because the narrator's always too slow for me. And so I'll like speed them up, but then it feels like they're talking a little bit slower each time I speed them up. And so by the time, it's about like 2.5. I have it on my Audible right now. I just got through Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix that just came out. And like, I feel like I just finished that in no time because I had it sped up so fast.
Yeah. Did you enjoy it though? Was it good? I know you're gonna like. I know you're gonna talk.
I like it. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to check it out. But yeah, cool, man. All right, Zach. Let's get into going back in time, baby Zach.
Oh my goodness!
All right. I mean, you're still way younger than me, so you're still baby Zach to me. But where it all began. So, starting YouTube, Zach. Obviously, you know, you were based. What was it? Oklahoma where you started out, or were you?
No, I was
Alabama first. Or?
Alabama, yeah. Oh, I see, and I don't even notice that most of my shit says Alabama anyway. But yeah, so Alabama. I was in my last year of college, and I was kind of trying to decide whether I was going to leave school or continue with it and take on some like a bunch of student loans. And because I really I just didn't know what I wanted to do, man. Like I had no idea where I wanted to go with my life. Always been into film, always been into like making videos, and but like when I got to college, that just didn't seem like a realistic thing for me to ever do. And then one night I'd had the idea to like do YouTube for a little bit. Because I'd just seen like all of my favorite YouTubers doing exactly what I wanted to do. And I didn't have a bunch of gay friends. I didn't have a bunch of, friends in the LGBT community in Alabama. And so it was just one night we used to, I'm not proud of this, but like me and my friends used to take Vyvanse. It's like Adderall. We would take that and we would stay up and like study or like, do whatever we needed to do and clean and all that. And so one night I took Vyvanse and I was supposed to be studying for a test. So I was like, but I like got on a YouTube kick and I was like, So I started planning like all of my YouTube ideas, like what type of videos I would want to do. And I made like a whole spreadsheet and like highlighted everything and like it was a big deal. And then come 8 a.m., I went home. I had a camera that a teacher had actually given me when I left film school my freshman year. Just came in handy really, really well. I put that out and I did my first ever video. It's just my coming out story. I think I did a video like a week before that, but that was more for like my family to see, just my dog. I was just making a cute video of my dog, but then made a coming out story, which everybody was fucking making coming out stories at that time anyway. So it was like, nothing special, but it was just so exciting to like put that out there. And I didn't have any views on it. I didn't have anybody commenting really. I'm pretty sure like most of the views were just me watching my own video back over and over and over again. But it was exciting and like I had so much to say because I didn't know much about the gay community and I had all these questions and things I wanted to talk about. And so I just started making videos, about everything that was kind of on my mind, and a lot of them are really shit and I would love to redo them now.
Do you think you will?
I probably will. I think so. But I've seen other people do that and they usually get shit for it. So I'm like trying to get over like the mental block of like, people are going to be like, oh, you're out of content and stuff like that. But really, these topics, I didn't know what the hell I was even talking about, and I would love to talk about those same sorts of things with a little bit more life experience behind me.
Like you know what, like anytime you put yourself out on the internet, you're going to get shit from people, aren't you, at the end of the day? And that's one thing that comes with it, unfortunately, but it's one of the things that happens. There's like everything from like body shaming to like saying that your content shit, you know what I mean? You just like all those comments say more about like the person who's written it than what they're trying to say about you. That's the way I always think about it. If you're body shaming someone, first of all, fuck off, and second of all, you're always going to get people who are anti-content that you put out. But I think that'd be cool, man. It'd be interesting if you kept some of like the original footage and then compared it literally to present day, and you could talk about like, this is how I thought about it back then compared to now. But it was really topic based, though, wasn't it? When you had like top fives and like this thing and that thing. But it's kind of evolved now, Zach, hasn't it? Where it's gone more into, I'd say, a more kind of memory based way. Like you're recording more like memories still, and you've even said in some videos like you want to look back on in the future and be like, oh yeah, I remember when we did that. That was awesome. So like, when did that come about? When did you like drop the topics kind of thing and move more into that?
I started vlogging pretty early. I think I started vlogging, had to be within my first like 10 videos or so. And I was like super regular too. I was like putting out videos like two times a week sometimes. I was really into it. And so I started vlogging not too long after I started YouTube just in general. But I still had like my sit down videos, you know, I'd sit down and talk about, you know, a topic for the day or something like that. And then I just kind of ran out of topics. And, you know, I had a lot going on in my life, and I, you know, I had just gotten married, and like, or, you know, my husband, you know, we were planning our wedding and had just gotten married, and we were just moving in together. And so there was a lot to film, and I just wanted to, I was like obsessed with just filming all of it because, and like most of it, like we'll never see the light of day. It was just like, I just had to film it, and I just wanted these memories. And like, I have a dog that passed away, and so I have tons of video of him, and I'm so glad I did that. You know, I'm so glad that I have all of that to look back on. And it just kind of, it just came out of like, I guess just that's all I was filming at the time. You know, I just didn't have anything else to talk about.
Yeah, no, I mean, so when you do that, Zach, obviously even now, like, you know, you film like so much content with Alastair, you know, with family and friends, like, how do you approach that? So like, obviously Alastair, when he first started doing it, like the boyfriend tag video, you know, he seems really nervous and he's like a little bit more introverted, but now he just, you know, he's like totally got it. But like, how do you approach it? Well, like, say if you go to, I don't know, somewhere where your family are, do you like say to them prior to that, like, guys, I'm going to bring my camera, do you mind being on? Or are they just kind of like, whatever? Like, how do you approach that?
So Alistair was super nervous the first time we did it, but he was like all into it too. He was like, right before we did it, we talked about doing it, and he was like super excited to do it. So this is what I noticed. Like most people are very excited to do it like the first couple times. Because it's exciting. They're going to be on a, you know, on a video, and like people are going to watch it. And then people get tired of it. so Alistair's fine with it because it's like part of our normal life. And like he films not as much as me, but just about. And so we have tons of footage like on our phones, just filming each other. But my family, I usually have to like mention, hey, I'm gonna film beforehand, and if they don't want to do it, they'll say no, and I'll just know who not to like point the camera at. But they usually don't mind if I'm just filming like me and Alistair, and like maybe their voices are in the background or something like that. But my sister she does not want to be on camera anymore. She has made me. I had to put her video on unlisted. Like she does not want. Yeah, she does not want her stuff on there anymore, which is fair, you know. And so I'm kind of have this thing now. I'm kind of thinking about whether I'm going to start like blurring people's faces. That way I can just film and not have to worry about like blocking people out. And then my nephew is starting to grow up a little bit. And this is a question I've always had for myself is like, would I film my own kid? If I have a kid, will I film my kid? And so I'm going back and forth on whether I'm going to start blurring my nephew's face too, because I might do that because I don't know if I would put my kid on the internet. So
no, of course that makes complete
What about sense. You though? Like, what do you because you do mostly reaction videos, do you not ever think, because I've seen you do like a day in the life type of video and stuff like that. Do you not want to do like normal vlogs or anything like that?
I dropped one recently actually. So that was like a collection. I don't know if you saw it, but it was like a collection of a few days, like at the span of when I had to go into isolation because my NHS app pinged. I've never had COVID, but if you've been around somebody where somebody's had it, just in case you have to isolate. So I did like something then talking about like, this is me in isolation. I did like, it was my friend's birthday. She had like a, you know, like a lockdown birthday. So it was shit where you couldn't really do much. So I had her over when we could. We had like stuff there. So yeah, like that video is a lot more like vlog really, where it's like, you see me with like my family, you see me like with my family's dog. So I absolutely love to bits. My car breaks down at one point, so I videoed like stuff about that. I was literally sitting by the side of the road and the exhaust had fallen off my car.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was crazy. So like this guy, like in that video, this guy came along, like this absolute saint from nowhere. And he had like, so it was really funny actually. I was sitting there like with my legs under the car and I was trying to put the exhaust back on. And I was like, yeah, this isn't happening. And then I just felt something on my shoulder and I was like, what the hell is that? And it was a dog. It was a dog's head. And I was like, what the hell? And then as I was like processing that, another dog appeared on my leg. And I was like, right, if I just died and got to dog heaven, like what is happening?
Angels. Right? Angels.
And I was like, just take me now. But I was like, what is happening? And then there was 4 dogs appeared, all different breeds, all beautiful, like tongues out, dead happy to see me. Like, and I was like licking me and I was like, what is happening? And then I had just heard this man's voice and he was like, oh, like really strong Northeast English accent. Oh, you're all right there, son. Is your car all right? I heard you coming along. And I was just like, oh, right. I've got dogs around us. What's going on? And then like, yeah, he just said like, oh look, like he said he heard me coming along, like the exhaust was scraping off the floor. And I was like, yeah, like it's totally knackered. And he was like, right, give us 2 minutes. He's like, I'm an ex-engineer. I'm like, so give us 2 minutes. I'm going to go to my van, just parked along here. I think I've got some tools. I'll come back along and see if I can sort it out for you. And then I was like, what the hell? So like, yeah, I just set my little camera up and record it and just started talking about it. So that's like in there as well. So that's the latest one.
See, that's perfect. It's like stuff like that though. It's like, it's shitty life things that happen, but like, I just want to like, just pull a camera out and start filming it. I always forget to do that though, because I'm like such a hothead that whenever like something is like something like that would just piss me off to no end. So I'd just I'd be in a shitty mood and I'd forget to even like bring the camera out. But
I know what you're saying.
Those are good things to film though, because then you got content. You know, you're not sitting at home all the time.
I know, just like, so do I film this wall again? Like, you know, it's like it's good stuff that's happened. It's stuff like that I really love. Like, I've done a few little things, like try to mix it up when I did like, obviously I've got like a loft in this flat that I live in that I'd never actually looked up in. So obviously I had to look up to see what was in there. There was nothing.
I saw that one.
Yeah, I think you commented on that one. But I was like, you know, it's nice just to chat about stuff and like, you know, like writing names on the wall and all that shit. Obviously did like, you know, kind of a horror-esque video as well. And it just, I think one of the big things for me, and I think you've said this before, Zach, in some of your videos, is like you and Alastair have got this creative side, you know, so you have like, what is a creative, like 1 day a week where you have like
just a creative night.
I love that. Like my job, what I do, it doesn't allow for a lot of creativity. So like I feed off that from outside. So anytime I can do that and just make something like, you know, on YouTube or do like what we're doing right now, it's just something that it scratches that itch. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think YouTube was a great sort of outlet for me to do that, because I had all of this like pent up, like I swear in college, I started out in film school. I was there for about a semester and then I dropped out because I just didn't think I could do anything with it. Okay. And I went my entire college career without like doing like anything creative, you know. I just drank a lot and I hung out with friends and like that was it. But I always, ever since I was a little kid, I was always making movies. I like always had a camera with me, and like I just recently found like a hard drive and forgot that I'd even made vlogs. Like I had tons of vlogs going back to when I was like a little kid. And so YouTube has really allowed that for that expression. So like, yeah, the creative nights are great. They're fantastic, but it's really like one of the reasons I keep doing YouTube, because I get tired of it. Like every other week, I'm tired of it and ready to quit. But like one of the reasons I keep doing it is like, me and Alastair can be my own subject. If I want to try a shot out for like, you know, filmmaking or cinematography, you know, I can do that with us and just, you know, because if you watch my vlogs, a lot of the shots are like set up. Obviously, you know, there's not a camera just like automatically sitting there. I have to go set it up and like tell us where to sit and stuff like that. But like, it's just really great like that, you know. I think that's the good thing about a camera and like just sitting there, and I don't know, it's ready. It's good. Yeah, but like I think what you do is like you're tapping into that creativity anyway. Like you're sitting there and you're consuming content all the time to react to. Yeah. And that alone can like spark some sort of inspiration for something.
100%. And what's great about that as well is like, you know, I started that was lockdown. Like I kind of just thought, you know, didn't have really an online presence, to be fair, like in terms of anything to do with YouTube, anything like that. And I was like, you know what, why not? Let's just give it a go. Like I'm really into music. And one of the amazing things about that is like, I've discovered music from around the world, like artists who I'd never ever would have found out about had I not done that. There's been people like, you know, sending me stuff and like, people just commenting, like, you know, asking about like my well-being. And then, like there's a painting I've got hanging on my wall that a woman sent me in Norway, and just stuff like that. I'm like, that would never have happened. One of the artists who I've reacted to quite a lot, her own mother contacted me on Facebook Messenger and was like, Adam, I just want to say thanks so much for reacting to my daughter. I'm like, is this actually happening? So like, just stuff like that, you know, like it's, when you get that back, that positive kind of feedback from it, really, it's like, wow, like that would never have happened had I not done that. And look at all this that's going on now. And it's just, that's one of the best parts of it, really, when you get that back. Like we're doing this right now, Zach, do you know what I mean? Like, and that probably wouldn't have happened if I didn't have that online more presence, really, you know? So it's one of the good things.
Yeah, 100%. Like, it's just really funny how that works. Because I would never have met my husband without having done YouTube. But like, I mean, sitting at close to 30K now. So like you're going to be there like super quick, super quick. So do you think that YouTube has kind of like facilitated a sort of need for, I'm always curious about this for every YouTuber I meet. It facilitated a sort of need for like attention, because I'd never thought about it, but I think that I was like really lacking attention for like a lot of my life. Like I didn't really ever have. I kind of had like a turbulent home life when I was growing up. And so I was kind of like, you know, I felt like on the outskirts of my own family, you know, and on the outskirts of my own home life. And so like, I always kind of like craved a little bit of that attention. And then when YouTube came around, I didn't realize it, but like, I really kind of basked in the attention I was getting. And like, it felt nice that people were coming to see me, coming to my videos to see me, you know, they remembered me. And like, I don't know, there's something about it. So do you think YouTube has kind of facilitated a need for attention in you, or do you think you kind of stick with it for other reasons?
I think it's a little bit of a mixture of both, really. I think I enjoyed out of habit. Do you know what I mean? Like I enjoy discovering like, you know, new people. Like I enjoy like talking to like people from around the world. I enjoy like, you know, listening to brand new music and all of that. But I think one of the big things for me, Zach, so like growing up, I was always going to be an actor. You know, like I went to drama schools. I did like, there's like a film on Amazon Prime you can watch that I'm in, you know, like there's stuff like that I've always like, that's where I thought my life was going to go. And like that comes with a lot of attention, you know, like people are watching you, as you said there, like on YouTube. And like growing up, I think, so my kind of coming out experience was really negative, like to start with, like horrendous in parts. It's great now, but it was really negative. And there was a lot of that where I was kind of getting attention, but for really negative reasons about sexuality and stuff like that. So that was kind of attention I didn't want. So I think probably there's a little bit of that where now I'm kind of, you know, out, like, you know, that's all like in the past type thing. But I think to get that positive like reaction and feedback now is like something that I never got a lot of kind of growing up, so to speak. So yeah, it's like probably a little bit of that, but also just that, you know, from a performer perspective as well, like, you know, like being on stage, I've done a lot of stage stuff as well. So getting like that feedback, you know, like the applause and all that shit, like, you know, it does a lot for like, I guess your own ego, but as well, just to like, you know, give you that boost as well. But yeah, I think it's just probably a mixture of that, but also I just enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like I just enjoy discovering the music. I just enjoy like even just recording stuff. Like I haven't done a great lot of vlogs, but the ones I have done, I've really enjoyed, especially the last one I did. I really, really enjoyed that one. Yeah. Because again, that was like a snapshot of like different days. And like, I think at the end of that one, that's when I had like all of my friends over my flat for the first time since like lockdown and everything happened. And some people in my friend group there had never been over. So that was when, I think you saw on Twitter when I posted some pictures of like the scythe. But that was like my friends come over and I was like, everybody is getting a photograph with the scythe, like totally hammered.
It's a great party thing to have.
The best party. Some people were like, Adam, like, what am I like? No, pick up that scythe. This is happening. So it's like a montage of photographs at the end of that one, which is pretty cool. But I love that stuff. But yeah, I think it was probably, to answer your question, it was probably a mixture of that, really. If that makes sense.
Yes. I think that's probably the same for me.
Yeah. I think as well, like, kind of mentioned when you were talking there about you went into film school and everything like that, Zach, and obviously, you know, didn't like, you were learning about like filming and everything for film. You can see that in your work. Do you know what I mean? Like, for example, if you compare that to other like vloggers and YouTubers out there, a lot of their work is kind of like, right, camera pointing at me, chatting, this is what's going on, maybe like, you know, whatever. And that's fine. It works for, you know, a lot of people. That's a popular kind of way of doing that. Yours, what I think drew me to yours straight away is how cinematic it is, this cinematic aesthetic straight away, where you can see you choosing your shots. You've got slow-mo stuff in there. You've got soundtrack in there. Some of the tracks that you choose are incredible. You use like color grading as well and like all of this. So that for me stands you out from others, because I think honestly that for me is incredible. And it's like, it's one of the best parts of your channel. But like, is that where that came from? And is it that kind of wanting to explore more of what you learned and like about film and everything like that and just putting it into YouTube to try it out, really?
Oh, for sure. Because I mean, I did drop out so soon that I really only like learned fundamentals and I like didn't hardly learn anything else. And so this is kind of me like getting to learn everything I didn't get to learn. And like a lot of my videos, the more inspired ones will come after I've seen something, like seen a movie or a show or an episode of something that I really like want to emulate. And so I want to like try it out. And so you can usually tell where the ones I'm just like making a normal video and then the ones where I'm like really trying to do something. Like with we did one where we actually talked about like doing creative night or whatever.
It
was like a long, like 25-minute video of just like nothing. None of it made any sort of cohesive sense, but I just wanted to play with like colors and like just shots and stuff like that. And so it was just a big bunch of just playing around. And in a way, like we were making, like that was part of creative night, is we were making the video. And so I just love doing that stuff. You know, it's really exciting for me. And then there's times I just kind of want to just, I don't know, just like do a normal vlog. Cause I see other people, if I see other people's vlogs and theirs are just normal, like mine are so overproduced, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to just make a normal something. And so like for my 5-year anniversary one, I was like in this big, like dramatic, I don't know, just dramatic state of mind where I was like, it's going to be just bare bones and everybody has to deal with it. And it's just, I'm not going to do anything. And it just like, I've carried my phone around with me all day, but it's fun getting to kind of flex those creative muscles that you have.
Definitely.
Because especially as you get older, right? You don't get the opportunities to do that as much as like when you were younger. And when you're younger, you know, maybe not the generations that are coming up, but like when I was younger, I didn't get to flex those creative muscles as much because I didn't want to get made fun of. Like, I mean, kind of like you said, like, you know, I didn't want people to call me gay and like, you know, I didn't, just stuff like that. So
of course. And as you get older, you kind of get over that stuff really, really early. And like, oh, fuck that. This is more about what I want. It's not about like that negativity I'm going to get from people. I totally get that. Plus, like now we're in like a society where like TikTok's huge. Do you know what I mean? Like people have been so creative on platforms like that. And it's more, I think, part of the culture. Whereas, you know, like back when you started and back when I was like younger as well, like YouTube was like kind of like, oh, you're on YouTube? Like, what are you doing on there?
It's still weird.
Yeah. And like now it's like, you know, everyone's got a TikTok account doing crazy videos and like, it's just so much more part of the culture. So I guess it's less of a shock now, really, to be fair.
It is. YouTubers still have kind of like a bad rap to them though.
Which is strange, but hey, keep doing what you're doing, Zach.
Sure, well, thank you for all the compliments.
Oh,
you're feeding my ego here, just fanning these flames.
Give me 10 more minutes of this. But but obviously you're moving away now from, you know, we said earlier, like it was very much a montage. You know, we went from content about like, you know, where it was like topical to then like a montage of like best bits of like the relationship and with your family and whatnot, to then we got like other parts of the relationship. So like we've been arguing a lot video. So like, what was the choice in that, where you kind of went from, you know, you've gone from like the best bits to then just include more realness, to be honest?
I think for a while, it was for a good year that I was making the best bits videos, like because I just really wanted to play with like music and montages and like just slow motion clips and like, you know, everything kind of like, I think I had a montage in like every video. And then I kind of wanted to move away from that, but I also didn't know how to do that. And so I was trying to blend them and put more real life stuff in there, because I think the montage stuff just like was painting a picture of like this perfect happy life that I didn't really want in there. Because that's not true, right? It's like we have a pretty boring life. We really do. And we argue like a lot. It's not, you know, bad stuff, but like, we know we get on each other's nerves a good bit, and I just want to show stuff like that. So I'm still kind of trying to find our whole balance. There are some more serious topics that I really want to talk about. I just don't know if we're both going to be comfortable doing that. And it's also super hard just being like a YouTube couple in general, because YouTube couples do, you know, we get a bad rap, you know, because it's weird. It's weird to film your relationship and put it out there. It's just, people don't do that. It makes no sense. I don't know. We've always done it. And so we're doing that. I'm trying to figure out where our kind of limits are. And so I don't know. I just want to have some more real stuff in there. Like I documented my damn parents like splitting up over Christmas. They haven't asked me to take it down yet, so I haven't done that. But if they ask me, I'll do it.
Of course,
I just like that. Like there's something about the realism that kind of reminds me that I'm not living in some sort of like montage to some beautiful music. You know, I'm here. I'm centered. I'm you know, I have to pay this bill on Wednesday, or I'm arguing with Alastair today, and how are we going to make it up? You know, it's like I don't know. I'm much more attracted to the realism, I think, these days, especially as I'm getting older.
Yeah, definitely. I think it makes it more relatable for people watching as well. Like when, some people can see like this montage of this amazing relationship and they kind of think, well, that's not the way I am. Like I'm here like arguing with my boyfriend like 24/7. But I think stuff like that, it makes it much more relatable. People watch that and go, you know what? That's me, like right there. I can see myself in that. And that's kind of like stuff like some of the trials and tribulations I've been through. Like it's right there. I totally get that. So yeah, man, I think it just brings that. And for all that, you're not on Big Brother, like not everything's been recorded 24/7. So obviously you are really selective with what you choose to show and what you don't choose to show. But I think in choosing those, those harsher times, I guess, it's more of a credit to you and Alastair really for just saying, look, yes, we're on YouTube, but let's just be real about it. This is some of the stuff that we go through, this is some of the shit that we have to deal with, like, and I just think it's the best way to approach it, just to be real with like, your community around your channel.
I also think it's like super cliche, when we all say, I'm going to be real. I don't want to be fake. I don't want to be, this and that and the other. Because I mean, there is like a mixture of everything. Like there has to be a mixture of all of that,
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to be 100% real. I'm not going to show 100% of everything. Like you said, like I'm very, very selective about what I do put in there, but just because, there's other people involved.
Yeah, of course.
But I think as real as possible is the best way to go. And it's not even about getting other people to kind of relate. It's just, I really, really strongly don't want to give anybody the idea or the false sort of the false idea that like relationships don't have problems and stuff like that, or that I'm not gonna like that I grew up watching a lot of YouTubers, and I like Marky Miller was my dude. Like I loved watching Marky Miller, but I never saw them argue ever. I never saw him talk about mental health. I never saw him like really delve in. And so I had this picture built on who I thought they were. And then like when they broke up, I was like really shocked about it. I was like, you never fighting. I don't get it. Like, and I would read the comments of like what people were saying, and everybody would be saying couples goals. And like people would say that under our videos too. And I just like, it made me super uncomfortable because I never want anybody to look at any sort of relationship and be like couples goals, because that's not how it works. That's not how even people work. Like take the relationship part out of it. I don't want anybody to think I have my life together. I have my shit together, because I don't. It's just, if I'm going to, because putting my life online is for me, it's become a thing that is very therapeutic for myself. But I also have to recognize the responsibility that I have, that there are people watching who are going to take something from it. And what do I want them to take from it? Right.
Yeah. No. I mean, you summed it up brilliantly there. I think, it's one of those things like talking about being really therapeutic as well. It's really good as well when you can look back on that stuff as well and be like, right, if you've had an argument, how was I in that situation? Was I a bit of an arse? Like where was I during that time? Where was my headspace during that time? And it's like for your own personal development, and Alice does as well, to be fair. It's good to like look back and be like, right, this is what we went through. This is the crack that happened here. Let's like, use that experience and then kind of work through that in a different way. If like something similar comes up again. But no, I totally get that. There is a lot of fakeness out there. I mean, you watch a lot of reality TV, and I mean, that's like prime time fakeness for a lot of it. And I think it's important to have those moments where it is just, to use the cliche, real, but it's so important to have that. And people that say stuff like couple goals or like, that's my life I want to have. Like the reality is you've got your own life, man. Like work on your own life. There'll be parts of your life that are incredible, that you can really strive to do amazing things. Don't try and aim to be someone else when you've got this own opportunity in you. So like I totally get that, man.
Yeah, I think that's just the best way to go about it. Because then what happens? Is like, if I am just showing the best parts of myself and like showing, only putting in shots where I think I look, because I have a lot of body image issues, and so one of my big goals for 2021 is putting in shots where I know I don't look good, but I'm okay with it. I just have to be okay with it, right? Because it used to be I got so like self-conscious about putting in any shots that didn't look good, and so now I'm really trying to do that, because people can only take what they're looking at, and I don't want anybody to sit at home and be like, well, my life sucks, because they look fine, or they're happy, or like he's not ever sad about anything, he's laughing all the time and stuff like that. It just I want people to like I don't want people to take anything bad from me. You know, I want people to be realistic about their own lives.
Yeah.
That's my big goal here. It's just like, remember, you're just watching a YouTube video of somebody, of a real person, you know.
Yeah, so. And I think that's great, Zach. Like this, as I said, like, you know, we watch kind of to pull back to reality TV for a bit, but it's an obvious comparison, isn't it? Where so many people watch people and they're like, oh my God, look at that celebrity. Like, look what they've got going on. Like, look at this person on YouTube. They put all this going on. Why am I not like that? And the reality is, like, they've got their own insecurities. You know, like you've got, as you said there, about putting stuff on there that you're not particularly happy with, but fuck it, just put it on because it's you. It's, you know, your life. And at the end of the day, it's not about just trying to show people the best versions of you. It's trying to show you and everything that encompasses and comes with you. And I think that's important, really. Like, people forget that, where it's not like necessarily a competition. It's not something to aim towards. It's just something to watch, really. And just, like, get amongst and appreciate it for what it is, not for what you wish you were in regards to that. So, But I mean, you've had some noticeable vlogs, and I've got like a list of 4 of them here, the ones that I think really are ones that like stand out. So I mean, the first one we kind of hinted at a little bit earlier on, which is the boyfriend tag. So this was like when baby Alastair kind of stepped in front of the camera. How different you both look, which, by the way, congratulations on your 4-year anniversary, is it?
Yes. We've been together 5 years, so it feels like 5 years, but I guess 4-year anniversary. So.
Yeah, so congratulations, man. And like in gay years, that's like 95.
Time is going, man. Time is just going. I feel like 2020 was a wasted year, and then this year has gone by so quickly.
Yeah, so, I mean, we're in July already. I mean, it was January like 2 seconds ago. It's gone crazy. But yeah, talk me through that one. So like, how nervous was Alastair, and like, you know, what were you like when you were setting up that one?
He wasn't so nervous. I didn't realize he was nervous until we were actually on camera and he was like not speaking. He just like wouldn't talk. But like setting up and everything, it was just fun. Like, he was excited to like figure out how the camera worked, and he was excited to like set up everything. And we were staying in an Airbnb. So we were in Austin, Texas, and we were staying in an Airbnb. And so I didn't have any like film equipment. I just had the camera. And so we were stacking like chairs and boxes and like putting everything up that we had. And it was just cool to do together. And we filmed that one. We filmed us walking into the Airbnb first. And then I think we filmed, I think we filmed the boyfriend tag right after that. I think it was the same day, because we didn't know if we wanted to vlog together. So we wanted to try out like doing a boyfriend tag first. And so we did the boyfriend tag, and then he was comfortable with it. So we started vlogging, and like, I mean, it just took a little bit of time, but that was a really fun one to do. I really, really enjoyed that one, because it was just, you know, I felt cute. And like, I had this guy that I was like so head over heels for, that I only knew like a month. I'd only been dating like a month.
Jesus,
we'd only been dating like a month, and we were those cliche gays who were just talking like in it, we're saying, we're gonna get married and we're gonna do all this. Everybody in the comments were sitting there going, you guys are gonna break up, you're moving too fast, blah 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 blah. But listen, now I'm the grumpy guy who's these guys moving too fast. I'm like, you're moving too fast. You need to slow down. And, that was a fun one to do, though. I very much enjoyed that one.
Yeah, no, it was super cute, and just the way that you talk about things, and you know, you even mentioned like tequila in that one, which is weird how it's come full circle, because now we've got a podcast with that title in as well. So it's quite like that. But about that, you know, obviously the like 20 $20 and like the kiss and everything like that. It's just nice, it's sweet, right?
It was so trashy too. It was right outside the liquor store. It was bad.
You know what? It's your story, Zach.
It is my story. It is my story. Yeah. When I was younger, because I proposed to him in an airport. But when I was younger, I always knew that I wanted to propose to a girl, and I knew exactly how I wanted to do it too. And I wanted to have like a ring, and she was going to wake up in the morning, and we were going to be like staying on the beach, and I was going to be like knelt by her bedside, and I wanted it to be like that, like super like casual, very like that. But then when Alastair came around, I was like, I want it to be bigger. It's got to be big.
I love that. And an airport as well.
Yeah. Everybody stopped. There wasn't like nobody there. Nobody. It was like 3 a.m. Nobody gave a shit. We were just taking up space.
I mean, I'd love if they did. Everyone just drops their bags. Big round of applause.
In my head, it was going to be like that, because we were supposed to do it at like 7 p.m. So there was supposed to be more people, and I pictured people clapping. And nobody was there.
It's like planes landing, people coming off.
Nobody cared. They're like, fucking move. Get out of the way. My bag is right here. I have to.
Get out of the way, gays. Give me that bag. fucking love it. But it's a cute one, but I do like it. But yeah, so like the next one, kind of, we jump from there to go like fast forward to when the wedding came around. So Alastair and Zach get hitched. So that one, is that your like wedding video, or do you have like more footage like that's just for you guys?
I have a lot of other footage of it. Also, like I had a lot of footage on a previous phone that I had, and I dropped it into like a creek, and so all of that was gone.
Gosh.
But I still have a bunch of it. It just doesn't make any sense to put it into a video because none of it kind of links up.
Right. Okay.
Because I don't have all of it. But that was another instance of like me in my head, like having this vision of like it was going to play Chris Stapleton's like Tennessee Whiskey, and so I had like all the shots set up in my head, and I had my brother's girlfriend come and my cousin, and originally it was only supposed to be our immediate family, but I wanted my brother's girlfriend and my cousin to come so that they could film it, and so I was like, here's your shot list, you have to get these shots because I can't be directing it. I have to be over here like living it, but I want this video to be good and it has to look good. And I didn't have a camera, so we only had phones. But it did not come out nearly how I wanted it to. In my head, it was like slow-mo, like sweeping shots and like gorgeous and like we were supposed to get married outside next to a tree, and when we got to the Airbnb, the tree was like next to a highway, and so I was like, we're not getting married right there. But
as you're going past.
Oh my gosh. But I just like, that's just the great part about it, about life, is that I love that video so much now because of the homemade looking aspect of it. Like it looks homemade. It looks like we filmed it on our phones, and like I don't know. I like it.
No, I think it's great. And I mean, Chris Stapleton as well, like over the top. I mean, first of all, tune. Tennessee Whiskey is one of the first songs I sang on karaoke and probably butchered it. So that's the thing. But tune though. But yeah, like, you know what it is? Like, it is nice that like aesthetic, as you say, it looks like it's home film, like it's people with like just their phones recording you guys, but it's super sweet. You know what I mean? Like, you've got your cowboy hats going on, you've got those waistcoats going on. Like, it just looks really cool. And it was quite a small affair as well by the look of it, which makes it really intimate. But that whole thing as well, like with just cameras and that's a big thing now. Like, I know like my cousin got married and she was like, look, we haven't got a photographer, just everybody record footage and send it to me and I'll just edit it all together. And I think
that's
it makes it really intimate.
Like you don't need a photographer. You don't need, like, everybody has a phone, everybody has a camera. It's super easy to make something that you like all on your own. And we didn't even use the song Tennessee Whiskey because like I didn't have the sweeping shots or anything like that, so we ended up going with a different song, and like it just all came together how it was supposed to. And there's like, I wouldn't do it any other way. I always think about like re-editing it though, and I have to stop myself because like because I know more about editing now, and I'm like I know what I could do better, because I had this like ugly filter that I put on iMovie on it, and like it was called the Blockbuster filter, and so it was just bad. So I might one day go back and kind of edit it to I don't know. Yeah. I don't know how I would edit it, but I think I might one day just try it out and see how it comes out. But I mean, that's my original wedding video. And so
of course it is.
Just how it turned it out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a landmark. Maybe after like 10 years anniversary or something. Put like another filter over. But yeah, like Zach, obviously, like, so one of them I want to talk about. So we kind of like hinted towards this earlier on, like showing some of like, the not necessarily the best parts, but obviously the video, like Rest in Peace B. So obviously, you unfortunately lost Bronson, which was a big part of your channel, like the B and like ACB is like was Bronson for a long time. What I really love about that video is, again, it's just like anyone who's ever had a pet, like, whatever it may be, like that connection that you've got with them, they are family through and through. And obviously that loss was like instrumental for you, really. And all of the montage and the footage that you see there, it's kind of like what you were saying earlier on, like that footage is yours that you'll keep forever, and like he'll always live on. Like you've always got those memories of Bronson, do you know what I mean? And I think it's really nice to put that together and share it with people as well, just to show how much you love that little guy, right?
Yeah. He was like very, very special to me, because I had him throughout college, and he was just my little dude. He was always with me. And this is not very healthy, but and I know that, but I put a lot of emotional weight onto my animals. Like they're like my kids. These are my kids. And so like Winnie, when she got cancer, like it took a lot out of me. Yeah. And so I loved them so much. I loved my animals. And so when he passed, it was really, really hard. And like it is for a lot of people. I know it is for a lot of people. And I know a lot of people kind of went through what I went through, because I would look up like, I lost my animal, I'm still sad, like what do I do? And there's a lot of emotional support groups for stuff like that, and I was so happy to see stuff like that, but it wasn't working. Like I just couldn't get over it. And so I had a bunch of footage on my phone and stuff like that. I made like a tribute video to him, the rest in peace B one. I think that was the tribute video.
It is, yeah.
Yes. And then after I made that, I couldn't get over it still. And so I made like a vlog that like kind of accompanied it, which got taken down by YouTube. It's like blocked worldwide now. Yeah.
Why?
So, somebody, I don't know. Somebody messaged me the other day on Twitter and was like, "Hey, where's that video? Did you take it down?" I was like, "No." I went and looked at it, and yeah, it's like blocked because I used a Carole King song in it.
Oh God.
So I don't fucking know. But so I made that one, and that one was the one I was like most proud of, because it just felt like therapy to me, I just like, I felt like so alone. Alastair was deployed, and like I was staying with my mom, but I just like, I felt like, I don't know, I just felt like nobody was understanding like where I was coming from. And that's always how grief feels. Is like you feel alone even though you're not.
Yeah.
And so I just would carry the camera around, and I would just like cry on camera. And I never wanted to be a YouTuber who like cried on camera and stuff.
Yeah.
I always think that's so cheesy. It looks so bad. It looked bad when I did it. Like it was no better, but it just was the most therapeutic thing I could have done to kind of get over that. I don't do well with death at all. Not with people, not with animals, not with nothing. I just don't have the heart for death. And I think if somebody were important were to die, for me tomorrow, I think I would film again. I would do the same thing. I don't know if I would put it out again. But I think talking to a camera, just kind of talking everything out of my head is the best way to do it for me. And that's what these videos are, it's just my fucking therapy. me avoiding actual therapy and just like creating my own.
But you know what? Hey, man, if it works, who's anyone to judge? Like, if it works for you, that's the main thing. Like, I'm really similar in the sense that, so my like older brother, like he's like much more of a person who bottles things up. And like, for me, that is my idea of literal hell. Like, I would literally go full on like reactor for Chernobyl and blow up. Like, I'm somebody who I need to talk things out. And even sometimes, if that is just with myself in my flat, like just verbalize my thoughts, and then really it helps me to understand them a little bit better and like talk to my friends about things. So I totally get that. And I think what I really like about that video, especially the montages, it is, yes, all the memories are attached to it and everything like that as well. But it is, again, just showing that other side of your life where, you had this amazing relationship with Bronson. He obviously meant so much to you and still does now. And like, I don't own any pets, but like my parents have got 2 dogs that I love to bits. When the day comes that they pass, I'll be absolutely devastated. And I think, it's one of them things where it just shows that connection with animals. For me, it's one of the great parts about people when they have like a really good, nice relationship with animals. And like, I'm such a dog person. There's a cat that follows me outside of my flat that's obsessed with me right now, which is insane, but I'm much more of a dog person. I love them, and I got that video. Do you know what I mean? Like when I was watching it, I just got it. So yeah, I think there's a lot of people who's watched that and just get it as well, Zach, to be fair.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I just like animals more than people, number one. But it's just they're just, they're there. Like especially dogs. It's like you are their whole life.
Yeah.
They wake up and go to sleep to you. Like you are their sun and their moon. Like we really are a dog's whole life.
Yeah.
And I just because I had to put him down, and I felt like I could not get the image out of my mind. I just felt so guilty. But he was gone. I sat in the vet's office with him for like an hour and a half, and I like told myself that I was going to say all of his favorite words, all of the words that would make him perk up, or like, treat, going outside, going on a walk, and like everything. And if he gave me any sort of reaction, then I wouldn't do it. And so I sat in there and I just said everything over and over and over again. He just wasn't there anymore. And so I carried a lot of guilt around with me. And I still have that sort of guilt. I still kind of like get some flashbacks about that. And I'm hoping that never has to happen to me again. I never want to have to put an animal down again. But it just, the videos did help a lot. They just did. I don't know.
No, I mean, obviously clearly did. I mean, the dog that we had prior to dogs that my parents have got now. Like the last memory I kind of have of her, she was like pretty much like on her last legs as well. And I remember she was lying in her bed and I kind of just lay down with my head in the bed next to her and was just stroking her. And that's the last memory I have of her type thing. I don't have any footage of that. I don't have any recording, but that'll stay with me for the rest of my life. Do you know what I mean? And it's tough because as you say, like, you come in from work, you come in from like when you've been out somewhere and you hear like the pitter patter of like the claws come over and then they're so excited to see you, and like you can't get love from I think anyone like you get from an animal like that. You just can't. Like they're absolutely besotted with you, and like, you know, the barking and like the, you know, like whining and just like they're all over you. And even when you sit down and you're watching something on TV and like when a dog just comes over and just sits on your lap next to you and it's just, there is no feeling.
Perfect. It's like you chose me. Yeah, you chose me.
You came to me instead of Alastair. You came to me.
They sit all over me, so I feel very special.
No, I'm like that, and I think I'm one of them people as well where animals tend to take to me a bit more. Like I said, this cat, like I go to work and literally the cat is next to my car, like pretty much every morning. I'm like, hello, I don't even know your name, but it just comes and like rubs against my leg and everything. I'm like, okay, hello. But yeah, just stuff like that. Like you just you can't get it anywhere else, man. Like the love you get from pets, you cannot.
Nope.
So yeah, last one I want to talk to you about, Zach, is so obviously this one you've kind of talked about a little bit before, but it's the daddy issues video. So like this one, obviously, you know, I think it was a reaction to a lot of comments from people, right, when they were kind of making comments about your relationship with your dad. And I think you kind of just did this because you wanted to set the record straight and just be like, right, this is how I've kind of, you know, been brought up. This is the relationship I've had with my dad now. Is that right?
It was a lot of that, and it was a lot of I mean, I won't be like, you know, all high and mighty and say I was doing you know, for 100% good reasons. I was pissed at him. I was like super angry with him, and I wanted a little bit of like revenge and like a little bit of like, I don't know. It was just it came from a place of like I had all these people telling me I needed to mend my relationship with my dad, and also knowing my past with my dad. And like finally, like I felt like, and I had my mom telling me like, don't make this video, don't do it, but like I said, therapy, like this is kind of my therapy, and I could have made the video and never put it out, but I just felt like, you know, I'd kept secrets for so fucking long. You know, my dad was a huge source of trauma for me growing up, and still was into my teenage years, adult years. And I never said anything because my mom had always been with him, and like you know, he was still part of my family, and my grandparents knew him, and like he chose to leave our family at one point, like stopped talking to my grandparents, stopped talking to everybody. You know, he didn't do it. Like, I don't know. I was super angry. And so a lot of that came out of anger, but a lot of it was also like needed to be said because he wasn't listening to me either. Yeah. Like I needed to say all of this to him and he wouldn't even hear it. Okay. And so I got to make a video, and I mean, that's the great thing about being YouTubers. I can say whatever the hell I want. And so I went and I was practicing all morning. I was like, I wanted to do it like, you know, off the top of my head. And so like, I was like walking around, just like saying all of my lines in a sense, you know. I was like trying to prepare like an actor because I didn't want to get upset. I didn't want to get emotional. I wanted to be very stone faced throughout the entire thing. And I got set up and I forgot fucking everything I was going to say. I just forgot everything. And I just started talking, you know. I didn't want to get overly emotional. I think I did a little bit, but like I felt like me talking to him in a way. Yeah. And I don't know if he ever saw it. I don't think he has, but I made sure to put it out. And just, that was that. Like, it was just going to be that. And if people didn't like it, they didn't like it. And it was also like telling people to fuck off and quit telling me, you know, how to act in my own life. Because like, that isn't one part of YouTube, right? It's like, you don't know all of the background, you know. You've maybe seen my dad in like one or two videos, but you don't know my whole history with him. You don't know my history with anybody. And so this was me kind of saying that. And like the amount of people reaching out in DMs and like emails before I made it were so negative and so toxic and just so like, it was awful. And then after, just this outpouring of support and people relating to it and stuff like that. And I was so happy that I did it. I was so happy that I did it. And I'm glad I put it out there. Again, like I can think of like 50 ways in my head I could have done it better. Like I would like to redo it, but it's just there already. Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's another one that maybe won't even stay up forever. I don't really have a relationship with him now still. So it's there, I guess. Until somebody asks me to take it down.
It's one of them videos, Zach, which in reality, grand scale of things, like you didn't even have to make. Like you did it because you wanted to like verbalize, and obviously, as you've said, it's like therapy, right? You want to talk through this and like make things clear, which haven't been so clear in the past. And I get that, man. I completely get that. I remember so I did a podcast called Risk. I did an episode of Risk, and this was back in 2018. And I told my coming out story. So I kind of hinted a little bit towards it, where I talk about, it was pretty horrendous. Don't get me wrong, things are amazing now, but it was really shit at one point. And I remember like doing it. I was kind of like, why am I doing this? Like, why am I recording this? And I was like, as I started to tell the story, it was really cathartic. It was like therapy. And I was like just talking to one guy, like the way I'm doing it with you now is just talking to one guy, telling him the story. And it was the host of the podcast. He was tearing up. And then like, because he was tearing up, I felt my voice wobble a little bit. And I was like, this is just my story. I'm doing this for kind of selfish reasons, really. I just want to kind of like talk through my thoughts throughout the whole thing. It's like a 40-minute long episode. But the response I got, which was not even what I was expecting, like I had DMs from people around the world on Twitter, on Instagram, and everything saying like, oh my God, Adam, your stories really helped me. Thank you so much. And like, I've been through similar things where, now I feel like I can come out because, it's worked for you. In fact, that for me was bonus, but that for me was one of the most rewarding parts of it, where people like got back and just said like, wow, Adam, like amazing. Like, and it wasn't about like, it's not about my ego and that. It was just more like if my story helped 1% of somebody around the world, then that's incredible. Do you know what I mean? So that's
great, isn't it? Yeah, it's absolutely a fantastic feeling. I completely understand that, because like I will be honest, like I mean that video was completely made for selfish reasons. It wasn't made to help anybody, but I'm glad it did. I'm glad it did. I'm glad it helped anybody. But what I take more from the responses that I got, where people were telling me their stories, people were opening up to me. And I love this whole podcast that you're doing, because it's just story based, right? I love storytelling, storytelling to my core. That is who I am, a storyteller. And I love when people tell me their stories, and I can't always like respond to everybody and like, interact with everybody in the ways that they would want, but I read everything, and I make sure to read everything. And like, I love when people feel comfortable enough to tell me their stories, because it feels like there's that sense of community there. And like, I'll tell you my story and you're going to tell me your story too. And we're going to have that sort of mutual exchange. And then that goes beyond a sort of, voyeuristic point of view. It's like, you're not here with me, but it's pretty damn close, I'm getting a picture in my head of like what your life may have been like. And I just love that. And I love that video did that. But I was fucking angry. I was so fucking angry. And I just needed to get that out there. And like a big positive from that is like, I could make that video, and everybody in my family pretty much saw it. They were sending it to each other and stuff like that. I don't know if he saw it, but I know everybody else did. And that brought me a lot of satisfaction, is that I don't have to go around and it's like my coming out story too. It's like, I didn't have to go around and tell people, they just saw it. And it was like, it saved me from having to go and just tell everybody. So there's a lot of good things that came out of that one. But I think the mutual exchanging of stories is what is one of the big things I look for when making my videos. I love when people will just relate their own life story to something that we just did, So it's my favorite part of it.
Completely agree, Zach. And obviously, I mean, first of all, thanks for the comments about the podcast, but that's one of the reasons the main reason why I wanted to do this, because everyone can talk about the easiest topic, which is themselves, right? Like, I'm not asking you to talk about something that you don't understand. Like, you're telling me stuff about you, which is why I do this, why I've talked to the likes of Ian, Brian, like the classical singer from London, Lydia, because of all these different experiences. And I just love to hear that shit, like, where have people gone? What's the trials and tribulations they've gone through in their lives? Like, as you said, it's that mutual sharing of like experience, of stories. Like, I've told you a little bit about me, you're telling me stuff about you. I love that shit, and I eat it up so much. And I think some of the best ways to learn about people, to learn about life, really, is to understand other people's stories. What choices have they made through their lives? What horrendous or incredible circumstances have they gone through? And what type of people are they now because of that? And that's part and parcel of the reason of the podcast.
Yeah, and I think I have a problem with doing these sorts of things, because I've done stuff like this before, but I have a problem with hijacking the conversation and like turning it around and asking, like I would be asking you everything.
Yeah, that's fine.
And so if you're open to it, one day we should just switch roles and I could ask you everything,
100%.
We could do an episode like that. Cause I'm much like, I'm a YouTuber, so I'm a little bit narcissistic anyway, and I'll talk about myself to no day's end. But I love to hear about other people, and I love to hear about their lives. I'm so fucking nosy like that, and so I'd love to do that with you.
100%, Zach. We'll throw it down. We'll put a date in the diary, and we'll do it. Whether it's your podcast, whether it's mine, we'll do it. We'll throw it out, man. Cool. Speaking of podcasts, let's talk about Coffee and Tequila. So the morning show. Obviously, you have like My Bloody Judy and Nudie Judy as well, but we'll start with Coffee and Tequila. So this is the morning show you do with your wonderful husband, Alastair.
Yeah.
So like talk me through that. Like, how did the idea come up? I'm guessing like you must have thrown ideas around and it must have changed 1,000 times, I'm guessing.
I basically forced him into it, I feel like. But like everybody has a fucking podcast now, right? Like, no, there's not a single damn person without a podcast. So like it's like way oversaturated. I just thought it would be a fun sort of like side element to what I'm doing already. Here's the thing, like doing the same sort of vlogs like all the time, I get really tired of it. And so I'm always looking for like another project, another thing to do that kind of like is a little bit fresh to me. And so I really wanted to do a morning show for like a long time. And me and Alastair were both on board. We thought about one day a week we were going to do it. And then like 2 days before we started, I was like, well, I want to do it every day. We're going to do it every day. So we've already failed. We've already failed with that. But,
about
I was like, he was like, oh, what? And no, but I made it work. I said, you won't have to do anything. You just show up. You look pretty. You have your ideas. We have a little shared folder where we put all our ideas, where we want to put it. It was originally just a pop culture morning show where we wanted to do just pop culture stories going on in the world. And then I don't know, like sort of, we were just talking about storytelling and loving to hear stories. I kind of want to cover just stories, not like interview people like what you're doing, but like, if I find a story on the internet that sounds super interesting, like there's a girl that I just read about earlier this morning who like, back in the 70s, like got, I don't know, like somebody in her family, like killed everybody on a boat and sunk the boat and like she survived. And like I would love to like talk about that whole story on it. So we don't really know what we're doing with this Coffee Tequila yet, but we're going somewhere with it. We've got a setup. We've got like everything looking nice, how we want it to look, but we just have to figure out like what the fuck we're going to do with it because we don't know yet.
And you will.
To be continued. Yeah, we will. But it's
really
fun.
What's really interesting, Zach, as well, is like when you were saying about story-based, so nobody really knows this. You're like one of the first people I'm telling this. Before this podcast, but maybe 5 years ago, I had another podcast and it was called Pinpoint. So what Pinpoint was all about was literally stories. It wasn't mine. It was people's from around the world. And the idea from it came from like, so when I was at university, there was this artist who like really, he reopened like a disused coffee shop in France, in Paris. And like literally invited people on the street to come in, write a little post-it note about a little story, a little anecdote, and post it on the map of where it took place in Paris. So like by the end of the day, he had like a board full of all these different post-it notes. But what was really interesting was like one place where somebody put like, oh, this is where my husband proposed to me, like in this restaurant. Someone else had put, this is where I was held at gunpoint when the restaurant was robbed. So there was like 2 different stories and it was the same location. And
it's always fascinating.
I know,
fascinating.
Right?
It's so
that
good.
Shit. So what I did was I started Pinpoint, which was where I used just the world as like that board. And every episode, it was like, I had like a map on the website for it. And it was just like, right, this is where this story took place. And I had like started to get different people's stories and they would just tell me stories from like what happened to them in a certain location. And it kind of just never really went anywhere, really. I think it just died off, which is a shame because I fucking love the idea and maybe I'll come back to it someday. I don't know. But so when you were just saying that, it reminded me so much of that because I feed off that. I love that shit. When
you should do more of that on here too, though.
Yeah.
You could like incorporate some of that. What's great is like I'm like so into just not even just stories, just like what you were saying with the board. I'm into like places a lot.
Yeah.
And so if I know somebody had been somewhere doing something, I'm like, it's weird. I just like, I'm trying to feel that essence. And like, it's not anything supernatural or anything. It's just like, I know this, like when I was a kid, I was obsessed with Anne Frank and we went to the Anne Frank house.
Yeah.
And I was like, she stood right here and she stood right here. And I was like, just like a whole big thing for me. And so I love doing that now. And we have back out by the shed in the backyard, there's a little girl's name written in the concrete.
Oh wow!
With the year 84, which is the year the house was built. And so I'm just like, somebody was there writing their name down. Somebody had their finger in that spot right there.
Yeah.
Like, how cool is that? And like, I would love to hear that story. So it is super interesting.
No, man, I totally agree with you. Like when we were talking before about like in our old house, we went up into like the loft and found other people's names written in the loft over time. I love that shit. It's like, right, who was that family? Like, what was their lives like in this house? Like, then we moved in, we've added our names, and there's a different family in there now. So like, are they seeing our names? You know what I mean? Are they adding their names? I love shit like that. And so much is obviously.
Did you ever figure any of that out, or who they were or anything? See, you know, I wish there was a way to do that too.
I know.
In every house I've been in my closet, on the inside, you know, right above the door frame, but on the inside so you can't see it, I've always written my name and what year I'm moving out in Sharpie. And so that's every house I've ever lived in. I have that. And then I don't know, I just love storytelling. You know, when I was in high school and like the beginning of college, I had another YouTube channel where I would just build on The Sims, like build houses, and I would like talk through stories, but like you couldn't see me or anything. It was just my voice, and I would do that. And like, I mean, I would never say what that channel is. It was just storytelling. I'd make up little stories for whoever was living in that house, and it's just so funny. And
I love that shit. I used to love The Sims. I used to play it so much. One time I made like, it was me and a guy that I really liked in school, and we like lived together in a fucking house. And he'll never, ever, and I will never share that name, fucking hell. But that was the thing. But now The Sims is cool, man. But it's like stuff like that where storytelling, it's fascinating. And that is something that, you know, obviously you're going to bring to Coffee and Tequila as well. Maybe it's something that I'll integrate to this. Who knows? We'll just have to see. I did have an idea for a while of like bringing like diary-based stuff into this. So if I didn't have like a guest on, maybe I'd just do 1 week of like, it would be like reading an entry from a diary, like maybe my diary. Like I don't have one, but it might just be a chapter of like my life or somebody else who's like submitted something and just sharing it like that. So it's just me, just my voice, just reading like a diary extract. I think stuff like that can be really interesting. So
I think you should 100%. I think you should. Do you ever watch those videos of the Reddit pages? Am I the asshole? Like those are so good. Like whoever the fuck came up with that, it's just like genius.
But I need it in my life immediately. Yeah, man. I absolutely love it. There's some great Reddit pages. You've probably seen like the top 10 scariest stories that exist on the internet. I literally sat one night. It was like by the time I was finished, like 3 a.m. I was like, what am I doing to myself? Reading all these stories. But I love that stuff. Like eat it up so much. So yeah, man. Maybe I'll add it to the podcast. We'll see. But I'll brainstorm it a bit more and I'll let you know.
Because there's so many people in the world, right? There's so many people that like it really, like when you think about it, not to get too like depressing, but it makes everybody sort of insignificant in a way, because there are just so many people with so many different stories. And like, I don't know, I want to know them all.
Same time though, all that content out there, you know, like the stories where like I did one episode of like Pinpoint when I spoke to my next door neighbor, this woman called Connie. She was like 93, and she was telling me about like in the Second World War, she was like had to go on a train and was taken away from her parents, and there was like a mouse crawled up her sleeve and she was freaking out, and then had to get on the train with other kids and that stuff. Like, you know, if had I not just sat down with her and was like, right, Connie, tell me everything, like that would never have happened. I would never have known that story. And I eat shit like that up because it puts a lot into perspective where I'm like, hold on a minute, you were taken away from your family, put on a train with people you didn't know, a mouse was crawling up your sleeve, you then went somewhere and you were like, what, like 10? And she was like, yeah. And it just,
and I'm assuming you have her like on audio, right?
Yeah, I've got to record
for that. Yeah. So that's like you've documented her now, and like she's there. Like I'm really trying to get my grandparents to like tell me their life stories. I'm like, I'll even just get like an audio recording. We don't even have to see you. I'll just let me get your voice telling us the story, because everybody's gonna be gone at some point, right? And so it's just like we have the capability to document everybody now, and we should
do it, man. I mean, with that as well, I sent the audio to her daughter, and I don't think she'd ever heard the story.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah, exactly. And she was like, oh my God, Adam, thank you. And again, it was that thing where like, I did it for myself for the podcast, but the nice part of it that came out of was, here's a story from your mother that you've never heard. You know, she loved that. And that for me was so rewarding. I was like, wow, like I kind of figured she'd already know the story. So that was phenomenal. So I love that stuff.
But keep doing that. Keep doing that. I'd even go out into the world a little bit and
speak to people.
Try to get some more of that. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe, man. Keep an eye on the pod. So yeah, talk to me a little bit about My Bloody Judy and My Nudie Judy. So this is with our mutual friend. I always want to call him Ian X Carlos, and I have to stop myself. It's like
sometimes
Ian
I do
Carlos
too.
Crawford. Yeah.
So, it's just his Twitter name, but I still call him by his full name, Ian Carlos Crawford. Ian and I are not people who agree on much. We get along. We get along like 60% of the time. We argue the rest of it, and but we kind of bonded over the pandemic. He'd had me on Slayer Fest, and then I kind of was like bugging him and like poking at him in his DMs and like sent him something about Helen Shivers, and we were talking about Sarah Michelle Gellar, and then we started talking in real life, or not in real life, but like through text, and we started doing a bunch of lives together. And I knew that in October, I really wanted to do something like movie reviews. I really wanted to do that because I wanted to try to break into the horror community is what I wanted to do. Haven't done that, but I'm doing whatever I want to do anyway. But I really wanted to do that because I wanted to be a part of the horror community so bad. So I was like, I'm going to do horror reviews. I'm going to do it for the month of October. And me and Ian had been talking about doing something for like a long time, all year pretty much. We'd been talking about doing something together. And then that time came, and he, I think, initiated it and said, we need to do something together soon. We need to come up with something. Because we'd talked about doing like a mental health talk together.
Okay.
And that never really came out. But he's like, we really need to do something together. I'm like, yeah, well, you know what? Let's do horror movie reviews. Let's do that. We both like horror movies. And so he said, yeah, and we came up with the names. Goodness, I know we have the rest of the names that we came up with somewhere. But we came up with My Bloody Judy, and then we just said we were only going to do it for the month of October, but I think both of us kind of knew that we wanted to keep it going.
Yeah.
And it's been really fun. We've argued a whole lot doing it. About every fucking little decision that we make, we have an argument about. But I love doing it with him because I love that we don't agree on most things, and that we just kind of have a little bit back. Because I think it's super boring when you're talking to somebody and they're agreeing with everything you're saying. I'm talking about when like it comes to like a piece of content or something like that. If I said I like Black Christmas, for instance, if I said I like Black Christmas and he's just like, oh yeah, I like it too, and like agreed with every point I had, it's just not a conversation that's going to last very long.
Boring.
I still like people who like agree with me, but it's just a conversation can go deeper if we have two different opinions, and Ian and I usually just have two different opinions on everything. And so he's a great person to talk about these things with, and I think him and I just have not to toot our own horns, but I do think we have like a sort of something special as co-hosts because we are so different. And so I really, really appreciate that. And the Nudie Judy, we weren't really getting paid for Bloody Judy or anything like that. And I felt bad because he was giving his time. So I wanted him to kind of get paid for it. And so we decided to do some sort of little show for his Patreon. Hopefully he gave him a little bit of money. I don't know how that works. I don't know how any of that works. But yeah, I know it's been fun. It's been fun working with him. And I really enjoy it, and I'd like to keep it going for a little while.
Yeah, man. You know what it is? Like when I had Ian on the podcast literally 2 days ago, and
I started listening to y'all's thing right before this, and so I got to like halfway through the Buffy conversation.
All right, cool. Yeah. So we actually mentioned Bloody Judy for a little bit, and one of the things I said straight away is one thing that I love about Bloody Judy is like Zach will be really enthusiastic about something about this film, like, oh yeah, I like this, and this, and it's like, Ian, what did you think? I fucking hated it, and it just
I just hates everything.
Yeah, he just hates the world. He's an angry gay, but no, I said that to him. I'm like, you might be enthusiastic about something, and Zach might fucking hate it, but that is the beauty of it. Where if you both just had an episode every single time where you agreed on something, the episodes would be 10 minutes long, and people would be bored to tears. Do you know what I mean? So that is the beauty of it, where you pick, and you don't always pick the obvious films either, which I really like. You go for cult classics, you go for some of the big blockbusters. You go for films from 50 years ago. It's it's a good mixture of content as well. And I think everyone secretly likes a little bit of horror on different levels. Some people are just freaks out. Some people just love the genre. But yeah, man, I think it works really, really well.
I think we haven't really gotten our whole groove down yet on like which horror movies we're covering and stuff like that. It kind of just comes as we go. We have a shit ton of episodes that are just backlogged because we've recorded them and we're gonna record them in advance and then they'll be done.
Yeah.
And then we decide to do different ones. So like all the ones that we were supposed to put out, we haven't put out any of those. And now we have like the summer camp series coming up, and you're gonna be on that one. We're gonna have you on that one. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, man.
I've been telling him we should have you on for a little while now. I've actually been telling him he needs to have you on Slayer Fest too. I think you'd be fun on season 7 for Slayer Fest.
I'd be well up for it. I'm waiting for you to ask me, Ian, because I know you'll be watching this.
Yeah, do it. I'm sure he will. But yeah, no, it's just really, really fun to do it with him. Just like you said, is like we have that.
Yeah.
Those differing opinions on pretty much fucking everything. So it's like it's never a dull conversation with him.
That's what makes it incredible, though, Zach. That's why we tune in and watch it. Like, what are they going to bitch about to each other today?
And it's not a show that even like is doing like fantastic numbers or anything like that. Like, it's not making any money. It's not really doing anything. It's just, I think we both just really enjoy doing it.
That's what matters.
And we went back and forth for a long time on whether we were going to have it on its own podcast platform or have it on Slayer Fest or keep it on my channel or put it on a different channel. And I think I'm pretty solid where we are, and I think he is too. So I think we're pretty good, and we're probably just gonna just keep going forward with it until
keep doing it, man.
Somebody decides they don't want to do it no more.
Someone's like, it's over. But no, you know what it is. Keep doing it, man. Like, and the main thing what you said there is, as long as you both enjoy it, doesn't matter about numbers at the end of the day. Just keep doing it, man. And like the rest, 100%. Like the people come along and do it. Speaking of horror, Zach, have you got your 5? So
I don't. I have. These things are always so hard. I hate making lists. So I have 4, and then I've decided I'm gonna come up with the 5th one off the cuff.
All right. Well, let me introduce what we're actually talking about. Okay. So
okay.
Prior to the podcast, I asked Zach to come up with 5 of his favorite moments from like a horror property. Now that could be from a film, it could be from a TV show, it could be from a book, but it's just might be a certain scene, it might be a character, it might be a film overall, but it's really tough. And this isn't an exclusive, this is my top 5. This is just 5 moments that you really enjoy. And for me, it was just like, when I did it, I was like, right, what's the first 5 that come to my mind? Right, let's just write them down. There's others out there. I mean, this could be like 100, do you know what I mean? But this is just 5 that came to my mind. So, Zachary, would you like to go first?
I'll go first. Okay. Should they be in order, or are we just going just random? Okay.
You do one, I'll do one. We'll just go random.
Let's do the opening scene in Jaws. I think that one is like terrifying to me.
Nice.
I'm still scared of the water to this day. Even like lakes, ponds, anything. I do not like open water.
Yeah. Good shout. And I think I kind of spoke a little bit to Brian about this, Brian Bryson, when I said like that soundtrack, you've got 2 notes and you've got an instant enemy, do you know what I mean? And that is incredible. Like Steven Spielberg like knocked it out of the park with that film. And every 100%. Time you see the shark, it doesn't look fake. It looks like a real killer. And the mystery is you never know where it is, like in the water. Yeah. And that's probably why you're saying like, I'm scared to go out in open water. And there's been so many riffs on like Jaws as well. You've got stuff like Open Water and like, what was that really good film again? And I'm totally forgetting now. It's the girl from Gossip Girl, I think.
I had to watch that for some. The Shallows.
The Shallows, yes. So,
again, that was a good one too.
I loved it. But again, another riff kind of on Jaws, really a big shark. But yeah, man, it started off such a trend.
It's just masterfully made, it introduces a monster so easily. The sucky part about that is that sharks are really not that bad. It's just but that movie kind of ruined sharks for everybody because nobody really had the idea of sharks like that in their minds until this movie came out. And so man.
Like, and every time you see a fin in the water, you're like, oh my god, it's Jaws, everybody
freaking out. Yeah. What's your number 1?
Okay, so my first one I'm going to talk about, it's a certain scene, and it's the kind of final fight with 2 of these female characters, and it's from the film The Descent. So I loved The Descent. It was really, really great. The ending I have a few problems with, but it's the final fight with the main character, I think it's Sarah, and then Juno. So it's when they kind of like go balls to the walls, all out. They're taking on the creatures, obviously, down in the cave. I just love that scene when they're fighting. They're so kind of, Sarah's just gotten to the point where she's like losing her mind. She's pretty much animalistic at that point, like killing them with a bone, like pushing her thumbs into their eyes. And then Juno's got like that, like pick that she's like, slashing them with. I kind of have problems with like where it goes next when, when she like slashes her in the leg. And, I told Ian about this point and he was like, I fucking hate that ending. I was like, all right, calm down. But yeah, like I just love that final fight. It's them just stepping up, like kind of going, right, let's just fucking do this. So yeah, and I love the film.
They could have waited till they got out though. Like it was right there. They could have just got out first. It's maybe unpopular opinion. I don't know, but I really like Juno a lot more than Sarah. I thought Juno was just like more compelling. I thought, she just had a better final girl look to her too. And then when we see her, you've seen the sequel, right? Yeah. When we see her in the sequel, she's just badass. And I'm just like, I love it. So I enjoy Juno a good bit.
Cool. I mean, I really like Neil Marshall. So like a lot of his films, like I am a big fan of like Centurion. He obviously did like Dog Soldiers, and he did a lot of like, it's like episode 9 of Game of Thrones, like the big battle scene. I think he did 2 seasons of that, and it's like his stamp all over it. So now he's a cool director, man.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Zach, next one.
I'm kind of jumping around here. Let me see.
Go for it, man.
Let's do Laurie Strode in the closet in Halloween.
Straight in the eye.
I love it. Because I mean, there's a whole like the movie. When I was a kid, I would always like skip to Laurie Strode's part at the very end, and like where she goes across the street and gets chased. That was my favorite part, and so her in the closet is just iconic. It's just an iconic scene. And there's posters and there's pictures and people do fan art, and like it's just you remember that when you think of Halloween. So.
Yeah, and that's when she became a badass. That's when like Final Girl, like she just stepped up. Where
she was awful in that movie, though. I will say she was horrible in that movie. She just like wasn't a very good Final Girl in that movie.
Yeah, but I mean, at that point, that's what that allowed her, like us to get the Laurie Strode that we've got now. Do you know what I mean? And like it was that point where everyone else ran away from Michael Myers. Everyone was petrified of him. I got killed by him. But no, she gets a hanger, turns it out, and shoves it in his eye. Yeah. I love that moment. And again, that film always reminds me. So it's my mom's favorite horror film. She loves Halloween. She can't listen to the soundtrack. It freaks her out. And I was saying this to Brian actually when we were talking about soundtracks. She can't listen to it. If I had it on now and she was in the room, she'd leave. Like it just freaks her out that much. But yeah, that moment, man, it reminds me a lot of her because she loves that film so much. But yeah, good show.
First time I ever got a cell phone, I think it was like 13. But I made that my ringtone, the Halloween soundtrack. So it would go off in class sometimes, and it'd just be the Halloween. I was just the weird kid,
I was like, gee, what is that noise?
I don't know. I was either going to grow up to be a serial killer or a YouTuber, I guess. It was one of those two.
I mean, it was 50-50.
I know. Yeah.
I love that shit. All right, so my next one is so this is the scene from The Conjuring, so it's the first one, and it's the clap clap. So this is when the hands come out of the wardrobe behind and the clap clap. Now for me, I mean, James Wan is phenomenal. Like he's incredible with his horror.
Yeah.
That moment for me freaked me out. I remember seeing it in the cinema, and it's because you don't expect like the hands coming out of the closet and clap. You expect something to happen. You think like is something eerie going to like burst out behind the clothes, but it's just these freaky damn hands that come out and clap right behind the head, and you're like, Jesus Christ. And at that point, you're still not really sure where the film's going to go. So yeah, for me, it's the clap clap with the hands out of the closet. That for me is freaky.
And it happens, and like so one of the great things, like The Conjuring on its own set up a whole new like series of like trends, right? Like everybody does the thing that The Conjuring does now, but that I would agree with you with that scene. That scene was really, really good because not only like the claps happen and the hands go back in, and then she's walking towards it, and it's this long tracking shot following her over there. And it's just, I think we're so conditioned at this point, and especially watching that movie, that, there's going to be a jump scare.
Yeah, exactly.
That we expect it. And then nothing happens at that point. It just kind of like doesn't give it to you.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Great setup. No. So yeah, Zach.
Let's do third one. Let's do opening scene in Scream. I think that is just perfect. I have to have that on a list. Yeah.
Masterpiece.
And the fact that it was like one of the main stars of the movie, and like I don't so it came out when I was a kid, so I don't really remember it coming out or anything. I don't remember if I was ever surprised that Drew Barrymore got killed first, but like I still like can appreciate the genius that it took to come up with that. And then it's just like is a concept that is so can hit so close to home for everybody. The one thing I have a problem with is that it's this big house. I like when there's smaller houses that feel like your next door neighbor's house. So I wish it would have been like a smaller house, but still like somebody calling you and then they're just like not leaving you alone and you're kind of just stuck. It's just it's incredibly eerie. And you know, I still think about it when I'm home alone sometimes.
Is that
27-year-old? Yeah.
I love it though. And again, it's like it's the things he's saying to her on the phone, like, you know, because I want to see who I'm talking to, and she's like, oh, what did you just say? And like it's that build of tension as well. And then she sees her bloody boyfriend outside tied up and all of that. So she can't see Ghostface until like much later on. And just
have you ever seen the original When a Stranger Calls?
No, not the original, no.
Yes, so that's pretty much the same thing. It's just like he's saying the same sorts of things. He's like, he keeps asking her to go check the children, and then finally he calls her and said, "Did you?" He says, "Why haven't you checked the children?" So now she knows that he's like can see her, and it's like that shit is so creepy. It's just I think home invasion stuff is so much creepier than like even like The Conjuring or anything like that. I'm not as scared of ghosts as I am of like somebody breaking into my fucking house and killing this.
Because it could happen. Like, that's the reality of it. If
it ever does, I need to go buy a blonde bob. If it ever does, I'm going to go out with the dramatics. You know, I'm going to put it on. I'm going to run around. I'll have a phone, a big one.
Like a brick.
Set the whole scene.
I mean, that better happen. Jesus Christ. How was he found? Well, he had a blonde wig on. There was popcorn on the stove. Love that shit. Right. So my next one is something that Ian and I recently watched together, which you still need to watch, Zach, if you haven't, because Jesus Christ. So this is the end of episode 1 of Dead Set TV series. So this is from 2008. And again, I think Ian explained to you, it's when like, basically it's the Big Brother house, a zombie apocalypse happens outside. It's eviction night in the UK. And yeah, basically it's about people inside the house have no idea what's going on. And obviously this like apocalypse is happening outside. But it's my favorite moment is right at the end. And I remember like 2008, this was before like The Walking Dead. This was before like Game of Thrones, when there was like serious bloody content. There's a moment when there's like one of the producers who seems like a side character, this girl. She's just one of the producers on Big Brother. And she's had to basically come inside of the house, and she's got a pair of scissors bloody. And all the guests are kind of like, oh, is this like a task? Is this like something that's going to be acted? And she's like freaking out. And anyway, a zombie ends up breaking in. And it's that moment of when everybody's freaking out. And she's had a moment where she's freaked out earlier, but she kind of just looks at the scissors and she's like, no, puts them down, picks up a fire extinguisher, and then goes over to the zombie and just beats the hell out of it on the head. And it like explodes everywhere.
There we go.
Yeah. And I'm like, that's the final girl that I want. And like, what I love about it is that she freaked out earlier. She's like, again, she could have just been a side character, but steps up to be this heroine. It takes charge of the situation. And like, all she says afterwards, everybody in the Big Brother house is like, what the fuck is going on? And all she says is just, the head. You've got to get them in the head. And that's where the episode ends. And like, I just love that moment.
What's your favorite zombie franchise?
Ooh, okay, so video game wise, it's Resident Evil, not the films, because Jesus. I think the first one is excellent. I think it's a big downward slope from there. And I do actually really like Mila Jovovich, but yeah, just no. So it's really tough. I think Dead Set did it really, really well. I'm not a fan of the fast-moving zombies, I have to admit. I prefer like the slow-moving ones, but I do think there's a lot more tension. Like 28 Days Later, I think did it really well in the same way as The Walking Dead, where, you know, the character wakes up and he's just walking out into an apocalypse. He doesn't know what's going on, and then all hell breaks loose. But if I had to choose one, possibly George A. Romero's, just for the slower kind of zombie take, probably. That's and it's a classic as well.
Yeah, I think that would be good. Somebody asked us that today, because I guess I don't even remember talking about zombies for the morning show, but I guess we did. And somebody asked what that question was.
All right.
So
yeah, what was yours?
I don't know. I haven't thought about it. I need to think and go put something. Maybe probably Romero's. I think I'd, for the same reasons you say. But,
classic, right? So but check out Dead Set, Zach. Honestly, watch it.
I am, because Ian told me to watch that one too. So
it's all on Netflix. So check it out, man. All right, Zach. Next, potentially.
Where are we? What number are we?
So this is number 4.
Okay. I'm gonna come up with one for this one. Let's say, beginning, or not the beginning, but in The Strangers, where they first come to the front door and like the lights out because they unscrewed it, and she says, "Is Tamara home?" I think that's like really fucking creepy too. I'm always scared of looking out my front door through the peephole and seeing somebody standing there. I think one of the scariest things that could ever happen to people is or something that makes it the most scary situation you could be in is something that's not supposed to be there, right? Yeah. If there's somebody standing next to your car, you tense up because they're not supposed to be standing there. If I looked out my front door and through the peephole and there's somebody standing on my front porch, they're not supposed to be there. It's fucking scary. Yeah. So that scene is always like, it gets me.
Zach, there is a story on Reddit I have to send you. So, honestly,
the Reddit ones really are scary.
Yeah, so they are.
I'm like more nervous to read the Reddit ones because I know I'll scare myself.
Well, this one will make you shit yourself. So basically, it's like you said, you've got like a Ring camera, that faces out in the front. This guy's got one, right? So basically, in the story, he's like, he just wakes up and it's like, normally, and he looks at his phone. And he's like, holy shit, I've got like 1 million like notifications from Ring, and he watches the video. And literally, it's just a man in a mask, crazy mask, just looking at the camera like that.
Yeah.
And it's and straight when he's like, what the fuck? Never seen him before. Yeah. And he posted like the pictures and that on Reddit. And I was like, oh, like when I was reading it, man, it's crazy. Yeah.
So 2 things. Whenever we first got the Ring cam, we were looking because we can see everything that's going on in the neighborhood. Everybody posts their videos too. And there was a woman who did that, not with a mask, but she just stood outside somebody's door, didn't ring it or nothing. Just stood there and stared in the thing for like 5 minutes. So that was scary. And then I used to live in an apartment when I was in college, and for like the summer, nobody else was there. But like that whole summer, I used to keep like the deadbolt locked, but like all summer somebody kept trying to like open the door. It was just fucking scary, man.
Man. Damn. Yeah. No idea what's behind that door. It's just
you don't know, but somebody.
Yeah. You don't know what's gonna happen. Yeah, man. Freaky.
Creepy. What's your 5?
Okay. Well, this is my 4.
You're 4. Okay.
Yeah, I've got 2 left. Yeah. So this one is. Did you watch The Walking Dead?
Yes. First like 6 seasons.
All right, cool. So you probably know this moment then. So 'cause I got lost up on it as well. I need to really go back to it. But this is the moment when, so you've got Carl and you've got Rick. And basically there's like a group of like mercenaries that's got them like held down. Michonne's there as well, Carl. And they're all being held down. And then like, it's when like one of them's on top of Carl and he's trying to reach for the knife. Michonne's pinned down. And then the guy just says to Rick, what are you going to do? And it's the point when Rick just leans forward and bites into his neck and like pulls it out and spits it out. That for me was like character moment for Rick, where just like that good guy police officer, all of that's gone now. Like this is a fucking killer.
Because at some point in that series too, you have to realize that everybody's gotta be animalistic at some point. Like society's fucking gone at us. By then, so it's all like that. I very much enjoyed Walking Dead for a good while. I'd like to pick it back up and kind of get back into it. Yeah. It's just like there's so much of it. So it's
like 11 seasons.
I don't even know where it is. I just don't know when I have the time for it.
I know, right?
I would love to. Did you the season 2 finale? Did you freak out over that one too? I still think about that to this day. I could have picked that one for 4. I should have done that. It's good.
It's an awesome moment, like, and then just it's incredible. All right, last one, Zach.
Okay, I'm gonna say Laurie Strode chopping off Michael Myers' head in H2O.
Oh wow, okay.
Don't beat it. It's not even scary. It's just like the perfect ending to the Laurie Strode, Michael Myers kind of saga. I mean, but then she comes back, so like there's more about it. But like even if they took that ending and like copied it for the end of this trilogy they're doing now, I wouldn't even be mad about it because it was just so epic in scale, and like the music rises and like the wind's blowing. We get a close up on her face and like perfect.
Jamie Lee Curtis is like phenomenal every time steps in that role, and that moment, that conviction when you can see it on her face. It's like, you fucker, and like chops his head off.
Loved it. And I love that movie. The only problem I have with that movie is that it felt very much like a summer teen horror flick when they could have done a lot with like that whole alcoholism that she had and the trauma that she had. But they're doing it now, so it's okay.
Yeah. Nah, good shout, man. I like that. All right, so my My last one. So this is like an overall appreciation of a film, and it's quite a recent one actually. So this is the film Host. I don't know if you've seen it or if you know of it. So it's on Shudder, you know, like the horror streaming platform. Yes. So you can watch it on there if you've got that. But yeah, Host. So basically, this is a film that was all filmed during lockdown, and it's filmed over Zoom like this. So it's like it's a collection of friends. I think there's about like 6 of like girlfriends together, and basically they're like going to do a seance. So they get a medium that comes on, and like, you know, they're just like, they've all got the candle in front of them, and it's all filmed. Like when you watch it, it's all on Zoom like this. It's incredible the way it's done. It all looks like it's in one conversation, like one take. And like the medium comes on, she starts doing the seance, and then somebody tells like a bullshit story about, oh, I can feel the presence of Jack next to me. And like all the girls are like, oh my God, like, is everything all right? And then she just starts laughing later on. And like, anyway, because of that, it's like opened up a window where shit goes down. Something's come from like the other side. But you see in each window on the screen, like they're all being affected in different ways by it. So like one girl gets dragged back on the chair and she's like, what the fuck's happened? Another person, like a window smashes, and like it's just so well done. And the director came up with the idea when he did a tweet that went viral, where he set this whole thing up. So he was on like we are now on Zoom with his friends, and then he pre-played a video of like him going up into his loft because he heard a noise, and there was a jump scare, and then he fell off the ladders and landed, and then the camera was just next to him and just his legs, and he didn't move, and all of his friends are like, oh my God, are you okay? And he was like, guys, I'm fine. It was just, but yeah, it was like, and then that went viral, and then because of that, Shudder and somebody else contacted him and said, we love the video, can you make it into a feature-length film? And he did. And honestly, check it out, Host, man. It's an hour-long horror film, but really well done, man. Check it out.
That's the really great thing about Shudder too, is I feel like Shudder is the future of horror, because they pick the smaller creators, the smaller filmmakers, and they give them that opportunity that, like, because I love Blumhouse, but like Blumhouse, you kind of have to be somewhere already or have been in the business a little bit, and like Shudder's really giving it to the smaller guys, and so I'm all about the Shudder movies.
Definitely, man. Giving like chance to the smaller indie creators, definitely, man.
I'll have to check that one out. Have you ever seen The Gallows?
The Gallows,
we just watched that with my brother the other night. It's just like, I mean, it's such a bad movie, but like it's just got some creepy moments. They do really well with atmosphere.
Man. No, nice one. So that was cool. So Zach, basically, just to round off now with our podcast, that was cool, man. Thanks for doing that. You were obviously, you know, last kind of thing I'll ask you really is that you write. Do you know what I mean? Like you write stuff. You've written like horror stuff. You've written like script work and all that type of thing. Are you still writing now? And if you are, what type of things are you writing?
I have 2 projects that I've gone back and forth on for years now. When I was in college, I wrote a full book, and I'm sure it was shit, and I needed to go back and like revise it like 20 times. But like it was like a full book, like 300 and something pages. Like it was a big deal for me. I was really excited, and then like my laptop got like really fucked up, and it was just gone, and I've never been able to recover it, hard drive and everything. And I think that put me in a damper for a long time, and so I've never written like I did then. I don't know. I feel like really discouraged, but I've been for the past couple of years going back on 2 projects, and right now I'm like very horror mindset. So I think I'm right now sticking with a horror book that I have. Whether that ends up a book or like some sort of screenplay or something like that, I'd like to finish it and get it out there.
Man, do it. Do it,
because I think if I ever did it, I would probably go self-publishing. Just because I feel like it's so hard to get a book deal and stuff like that. And right now I feel like I could just self-publish and have it out there and be proud that it's out there, you know, even if it doesn't do very well.
But you'll get it out there. People will read it, man. And you know what it is? There's nothing wrong with that. Do it, man. Like I was chatting to Ian about this because he obviously said he's got like a horror novel that he keeps going back to. And I was kind of saying as well, like I've got one as well that I keep chipping away at. And sometimes I even add just 100 words to it, but it's more than 100 words more than what I had yesterday. Do you know what I mean? So just keep going back to it, man. Keep doing it. And if it changes, if it keeps, you know, different in different ways.
I want to play. I'm 100% want to keep playing with storytelling, and I think horror is just the genre that I identify with most. I think there's so much to explore there that I want to do something there. But I've taken a crack at like doing short films and stuff like that, and it just hasn't really like panned out for me. So I think writing is kind of where I want to stick now. I don't know if I would want to go into like filming it or directing something, at least not right now. What about you? Because I know you've worked on like a short film. You mentioned what you're writing, but like I saw your short film too, and like how much more do you want to expand kind of all of that series?
So yeah, you know what? Like so the pandemic's been a bitch for trying to like sort things out, but it's been an absolute bitch. So that thing for me, that was just me kind of, we were talking earlier about moments of creativity and like flexing that creative muscle. So that for me, I just had a concept of what if, the world's trapped inside. What if I was trapped inside of my flat and there was something up there? You know what I mean? It was like that type of thing. So that was just an idea. And I kind of just, for me, that was really experimental. Just trying different things. What could I create that is just me, nobody else helping me out type thing. And then, I've got friends who do like filming. I've got friends that write stuff. And like, they've been really kind of like stagnant with everything they could do because they've all been locked in. But now, like literally today that we're recording, the 19th of July is like Freedom Day in the UK where everything's come down. So I think it's one of them things where I've had friends who have always wanted to do more stuff like that and like just work with like different ideas that they've had, like just do more like guerrilla type filming of just trying different ideas and trying different horror aspects that they've done. And that's why I kind of started that, because I thought I can use this as a platform where if you film something and you want to show it to people, just give it to me. I don't mind. I'll like show the world. If you want to like get me involved as well, like I'll gladly like do something. I'll die in like the first 5 minutes, whatever. But it's just more of that really. So I'm still in talks with some friends at the moment who do filming and stuff like that. And it's just as and when it happens, I'll gladly revisit it again. But it's still just there, kind of just sitting in the background for now.
You should. I think so. I think that'd be really cool because I really liked the one you did.
Yeah, cheers, man.
It was really good.
No, I appreciate that. No, keep an eye out. Maybe it'll come out like the sequel by the end of this year.
Oh, get it. I don't know. I think all of that. Like, I love watching short horror films. I think those are just so cool.
Agreed. Yeah, and some of the ideas as well are so fresh and so different, and a nice take on something that you might have seen before. So,
like the Lights Out one. Do you remember when that came out? Like that scared the shit out of me, and I was like, they came up with this.
I'm was still not over it.
On like no budget, it must have been, and it became a whole ass movie. So like,
man, and that is just flicking a light switch on and off, and that for me is fucking incredible. And that creature is freaky as fuck.
I have an idea that I had a dream about one time, and it's like, what if you looked out the window and you saw like some older person in like a hospital gown just pushing like a I don't know what you guys would call it, like a basket, like they in a supermarket,
a trolley,
a trolley, like in a Tesco.
In a Tesco,
yeah. So what if there was somebody just pushing one of those outside, and then as I'm peeking, they notice or sense that I'm looking at them, so they look back at me and start pushing it towards my house. And I don't know what would happen after that, but that would be creepy too. Like,
all right, so let's talk about this skin crawling right now.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I have a lot of like beginning ideas, but I just need to flesh a lot of them out. But
that's kind of me as well. It's like putting like narrative and plot to it as well. Like just have a video of really cool ideas.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right, Zach. So kind of wrapping up now. So do you have any kind of final thoughts or comments that you want to leave? Basically, it can be about anything we've spoken about. So it can be talking about, YouTube. It can be talking about writing. It could be talking about any vlogs that you're doing. Anything that you want to leave us with that might, just anyone who might be thinking about, recording, filming, writing, anything like that you want to leave us with.
Not so much about me. I do think you should do more of that that original podcast that you did, kind of incorporated into this one. I think that would be a really, really good idea. That was really intriguing to me when you mentioned that. I think you should do more of that. And then I'd like to come on and interview you. And we'll have to do that at some point.
100%.
All of your stuff.
Yeah, man. So, honestly, we'll thrash it out. We'll throw it down. Just, we'll sort it out straight after this.
Absolutely.
All right, Zach, where can everybody find you on socials? Pimp all your stuff.
YouTube at Adventures of Zach and B. It's my main channel, or AZB bonus features. My Bloody Judy on Slayerfest 98 on all podcasting platforms. Coffee and Tequila on podcasting platforms. Adventures Z and B on Twitter, and Adventures of Zach and B on Instagram. See, it would be so much more helpful to just have everything the same name.
Well, all them handles, everyone's like, right, give me 5 minutes to write all these down.
Nobody gives a shit. They're like, okay, whatever.
Love it, man. All right, so you can find the podcast everywhere where you download podcasts. So this is Into You Podcast, so make sure you go and check that out. We're on social media as well. Literally just type in Into You Podcast. You can find us on Twitter, on Instagram, everywhere that you normally find social media accounts. You can find me at Strawn87, so I am on Twitter and Instagram as well. So come and give me a follow on there if you like. And yeah, thank you again so much, Zach, for doing this. Really, really appreciate it. I know you're a busy guy, so yeah, thanks so much, man. And yeah, take care.
Thank you so much for having me. Bye, guys.